Kumusta mga kanoysi? Welcome back sa ating YouTube channel, FilipiNoisy. So, usapang politika na naman tayo, no? So, kung gusto nyong ma-high blood, so, wala. Tara, samahan nyo ko, panoorin natin to. So, I think, ito na naman to, from the butihing kapatid ni PBBM, na hindi natin alam kung parang ewan kasi. So, again, Balita TV. So, meron itong pamagat na grabe pala nangyari, sobrang pahiya si Marcoleta at IMEE sa sinabi ng korte na disqualify na sa VAR. So, ewan ko kung ano yung padi-disqualify nila, no? I think si Remulla yung pinag-iinitan nila. But, yeah, panoorin natin to. So, Balita TV, supportahan nyo yan. Tapos, syempre, kung trip nyo ng mga ganitong reaction video, may kasama kayo manood, huwag nyo na rin kalimutang supportahan nyo yung YouTube channel natin, FilipiNoisy. So, mga kanaysi, di na natin ito patatagalin pa. Simulan na natin, baka agawin pa ng China. Anyway, sa mga taga-Davao pala, keep safe, and then mga pare, ipagdasal natin sila na sana makabangon ulit sila, no? And then syempre yung mga kababayan natin na napahamak, sana maging okay lang din sila. And then yeah, tuloy. Start.
An applicant on the very last day of final deliberations.
Actually, Your Honor, my position is different. We consider them as complaints, but in our discussion, we're considered mere oppositions.
Are you saying, Justice, that all of these cases against Secretary Remulla are entirely baseless?
Ibig sabihin po, kung hindi serious at saka hindi grave, hindi po siya madi-disqualify. Nag-file po ng disbarment si Mayor Sebastian Duterte. Ibig sabihin po, in the discretion.
Diba? Ito yung nakakatawa sa part nila, diba, na kapag sila meron silang, syempre natitrigger na sila, na iupo na si Remulla. Hindi, nakaupo na nga mismo talaga. Diba? So natitrigger sila, gusto nilang ipa-disqualify, So, kita nyo naman kung ano yung mga galawan. Diba yan yung literal na pamumulitika talaga. Diba? So, alam nyo yung sobrang galit na galit sila, na pinopolitika sila, na natural lang naman, napopolitikahin sila kasi nasa politika naman sila. Diba? Tapos yun din naman pala yung gagawin nila sa kalaban nila. Pamumulitika din yan eh. Di ba?
The council, hindi so serious or grave
Very
enough.
bad.
Tama po ba?
Your complaint or opposition against Secretary Remulla, we consider the reasons, but
When somebody affirms that sometimes we can bend the law, then you still include him as an applicant to the ombudsman. You take light of that. The JBC will take light of that.
the majority considered.
What would you think of the public thinking that somebody who affirmed that sometimes
Di ba? Sobrang ano sila dun sa Bendalo. Di ba? Si BP Sara nga na yung sa impeachment nga, million yung pera na nawala. Tingnan nyo, i-endorse nyo yan as a president this coming 2028. Di ba? Anak na.
we should bend the law and become the ombudsman of this republic?
I do not have time really to read the social media, but my position is different. I was a justice for several years. When I was a regional trial court, I adhered to precedents. Also, when I was a justice in the Court of Appeals, I adhered to the precedents. When I was in the Supreme Court,
Nako.
whenever I make a ruling, I was very
Nako.
aware that our decisions will be considered as precedents by those
Nako.
following us. That's my experience being in the judiciary. That's why I believe in the rule of law.
I'm sorry po.
Oh, so palpal. Panis yung ano dito. Panis yung mga DDS dito. Iiyak na naman sila. Sasabihin na naman nila, wala na, grabe kasi sila. Sakit sila sa kapangyarihan. Di ba? Yun lang. Sinolo ni Tatang yung dalawang congressman. Di ba? Hindi umubra yung top dog nila, di ba?
Sobrang nakakagulat na balita. Grabe si Marcoleta na pahiya, pinadisqualify na, naiyak si Iyong
Alright.
Marcos, nagsalita na ombudsman. Ayon sa nakalap nating impormasyon, grabe ang pahiyang inabot ni Marcoleta at Iyong Marcos matapos tanungin si ex-Justice Supreme Court Mendoza. Grabe pala ang
Bakit nagaganyan sila? Excuse me po. Bakit nagaganyan kayo eh?
sinabi ng Judicial Bar Council. Sobrang galing sumagot kaya hindi na pa-disqualify si Remulla. Grabe si Marcoleta na
Alright.
pahiya, pinadisqualify na, naiyak si Iyong Marcos, nagsalita na ombudsman. Tara panoorin natin.
Thank you, Mr. Justice.
Sobrang pilit na pilit din kasi talaga yung pinagagagawa nila eh.
The floor is now open for questioning. There be any? Senator Marcos.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Justice, and welcome to the Senate and the Commission on Appointments. My first question is very simple. Is the exercise of the JBC's functions of shortlisting candidates for the judiciary ministerial? Is it merely ministerial, or does it involve judgment and discretion?
Your Honor, it involves judgment and discretion. With respect to the disqualification, there are automatic disqualifications if you have pending cases. But when you meet the criteria and you're not disqualified, then discretion comes in. There's so many factors to be considered by a member in considering an aspirant. His,
Wala
not
na
only
yan.
his bar rating, his academic records are also looked into, his experience as a professional, the honors, the awards he garnered, his reputation also, his integrity,
Thank
and
you.
his record.
Thank you very much, Justice. In other words, the JBC is not a mere rubber stamp. Is that correct? I mean, its job is not merely to ensure that it ticks off all the requirements or deletes in the case of disqualifications. So otherwise, the Constitution wouldn't require such stringent qualifications for one to become a JBC member. Isn't that correct, Paul?
Isn't that correct po?
Isn't it though, before, applicants should have already qualified on the last day of the application? I heard this is a practice for regular applicants for the judiciary, the RTC. Why change it for...
So, 'di ba? Sobrang kine-question nila ngayon yung pag-ombudsman ni Remulla. So, what if, 'di ba? Kasi syempre, yung impeachment din na nga umusad, 'di ba? So, ibig sabihin, this coming 2028, tatakbo talaga si Inday, 'di ba? So, what if sila naman yung tanungin, 'di ba? Na bakit pa pinapatakbo yun si BP Sara, 'di ba? May impeachment 'yan, 'di ba? Na pinigilan, unsolved pa rin, 'di ba? Unsolved yun pa rin, hindi niyo pwedeng sabihin na nagdesisyon kasi yung Supreme Court or whatsoever. Unsolved yun kasi hindi nasimulan yung impeachment eh. Hindi nasimulan siya. Hindi siya nasimulan talaga. Hindi siya pinasimulan, 'di ba? So parang hanging yung impeachment. So ano yung sasabihin niyo doon? 'Di ba? Malamang sa malamang ide-defend niyo 'yun. 'Di ba? Sobrang bias talaga nito.
some people. Why does the JBC keep changing its rules? Does the JBC favor someone? Why qualify an applicant on the very last day of final deliberations? I refer to the case of Attorney Logan, who was only issued an ombudsman clearance on October 6th, the same day the shortlist was released and sent to the office of the president due to 2 pending ombudsman cases. Why were the rules suddenly changed in her favor?
Actually, Your Honor, when we publish the announcement inviting applicants for we invite the public to report, to comment, to endorse or oppose the applications of those listed applicants. Not all submit their oppositions on time. There are those who submit their clearances when they apply. There are those who reserve or they ask for time to submit their clearances. And after that, there are also oppositions, complaints against the applicants. And in our experience, most of the complaints they're not that serious as to disqualify a candidate. So we consider every opposition.
Iiyak yung mga yan, sir. Di ba? Iiyak yung mga yan. Di sila papayag ng ganyan. Tingnan mo.
We ask them to comment, to comply with the due process requirement of the Constitution. So they are asked to comment. The last day, because of our experience of complainants or oppositors filing their complaints and opposition during the last week or the last few days of the final deliberation, we deem it unfair if we will automatically disqualify them.
Justice.
So we have to study if the matter is very serious or not.
Yes, Justice, but you made mention of a list of absolute requirements, which contains, among others, a clearance of the ombudsman. Surely that doesn't require an oppositor to file with the JBC. Surely that is of note. Why was Attorney Logan considered, given that the ombudsman clearance was only given on the same day, yesterday, when the shortlist was given? The deadline had long passed. Why?
Tanggapin nyo na lang na nautakan kayo. Diba? Kasi kung sa prime nyo yan or sa time nyo yan, if ever sa watch nyo mangyari yan, ganyan din naman yung gagawin nyo eh. Diba? Ano ba kayo? Shadow naman kayong halata.
Is the JBC changing its rules to favor certain people?
It's still within the rules, Your Honor. Before the voting, they should, if they can submit a clearance, they can be qualified and can be
Even on the same day po.
Same day.
Because we're given to understand that the required documents are supposed to have been submitted in September, as is usual with regular judges in ordinary courts.
Yes, sir. With respect to judges, we have considered it to be the last day because there are so many good judges.
So there's a distinction po.
When
The
they are-
ombudsman is special, and regular judges have to comply with the rules.
No, they have the same.
Kapag nakikita ko talaga si ano ba, si Jaime ba yung parang, syempre, I think, or ewan ko, kung sarcastic ba yung tawag dyan, na parang yung pa-smile-smile niya, ano, parang pakita ba na, so sinasabi mo ngayon na, ganyan, tapos pangisi-ngisi, pa-smile-smile, kala niya siguro sobrang cool eh.
The same qualification if they have a
But
pending.
there was a deadline
Kala niya rin kinatalino niya
for the
pa,
requirements to be submitted in September.
Oh.
A deadline that was actually extended repeatedly.
Yes,
pabida.
it is on the last day of we call it the final deliberation. If they can submit a clearance, they can be considered with respect to
Several dates were given po. In
Yes,
September, I recall.
Tatawa
Yes,
yan.
Your Honor.
In any case, did you participate, given that you were reappointed twice? Did you participate in the proceedings in the shortlisting of the ombudsman candidates po?
Yes, yes, Your Honor, because my appointment was ad interim.
So, given the two appointments, you in fact participated. So we are very curious about the occurrences with regard to the JBC shortlisting yesterday. It is very clear that the JBC requires that an applicant should have no pending administrative or criminal case before any office, considering that Secretary Boyeng Remulla was included in the list of nominees, despite having pending cases and issues touching on propriety. Would you agree that such inclusion may cast doubt on your council's adherence to the constitutional requirement of recognized probity and independence?
So ang tanong, kaya nyo rin bang gawin yan if ever tatakbo si VP Sara na president this coming 2028? Di ba? Yung impeachment niya, considered pending yun eh. Hindi pa nasimulan eh. Di ba? Na ano nyo lang, na-remedyohan nyo lang, pero unsolved yung impeachment na yun. So ang tanong, may gagawin ba kayo? Di ba? Of course, wala. DDS kayo eh. Di ba? Baka nga ipaglaban nyo pa yan, aabugaduhin nyo pa yan kasi ewan ko, I think kapag katatakbo si Inday this 2028, kukontrahan yan, ipapadisqualified yan. Sila lang din yung magtatanggol niyan. Tingnan nyo, Marcoleta, ito si Jaime, si Cayetano, sila lang din yung magtatanggol dyan. Diba? Sobrang pangit kasi parang kine-question nila ngayon yung mga way na naging ombudsman or whatsoever si Remulla. Parang ganun lang din naman yung yung system ni VP Sara, di ba? Mas worse pa nga yun eh.
We were aware of that. Senator Pangilinan was there, and Congressman Luistro was there when we considered the first issue of whether a candidate is disqualified or not. So in the case of Secretary Remulla, he was able to submit
Nako.
clearances from the ombudsman. And then
Nautakan.
we checked the JBC rules, and in the JBC rules regarding disqualification, if you have a pending case with the ombudsman, you will be disqualified. But if there is any other administrative case before any other government agency, it will be subject the discretion and evaluation of the individual members. It is only, I do not know why the administrative cases of pending before the ombudsman are different from the other agencies, but that is the rule. And
But surely you're aware that the pending cases
Turuan mo nga yan silang dalawa, sir. Turuan mo nga yan. Kasi wala eh. Sobrang pilit na pilit eh.
were not merely administrative, but in fact criminal. And we can hardly say that recognized probity is, in fact,
In fact, criminal. Kayo nga yung sobrang nananawagan na ipabalik na dito si FPRRD. Criminal din yun.
held.
Napainom ng
Your
tubig
Honor,
si
that
Sir.
is
Sabi ni Sir, usapang criminal pala. Banggitin ko yung tatay nyo dito. Eh.
we are aware of that, but he was able to obtain a clearance So,
As a matter of fact, some of these cases arose before Secretary Remulla made his intentions known that he intended to become ombudsman. Is this a person of recognized probity? Also, a lifelong politician? Is this a person of recognized independence?
the voting yesterday was in secret. It was confidential. We do not know the members who voted for him
confidential.
and the member who did not vote for him. So may we ask your indulgence on that? We respect the confidentiality of the JPC proceedings because the Chief Justice Alexis Mundo even asked us to execute an undertaking that everything should be confidential for the protection of the members of the JPC, especially the regular members who are not politicians. They are apolitical.
We are certain that
Confidential. 'Di ba sobrang G na G sila doon sa isang senador daw na nagsabi na sometimes you need to bend the law. 'Di ba? Pero ito, confidentiality, tingnan nyo, pipilitin nila 'yan. 'Di ba? Well, confidential dyan. Sila masusunod, gusto nila sila yung masunod eh.
that you are aware that in 2012, for the position of Chief Justice, two pending disbarments against then Laila de Lima disqualified her.
Before you answer, Justice, the chair would like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Joel Villanueva.
Yes, so this
Nandyan pa
occurred
pala
in
yan?
2012 when she was disqualified
Yes.
because of two disbarment cases. I am certain that you are aware that there are disbarment cases filed against Secretary Remulla. First, on the 23rd of September, Attorney Topacio filed. Thereafter, on the 2nd of October, acting Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte also filed a disbarment case. In addition, our chairman, Senator Marcoleta, filed his sworn opposition. But in the shortlist submitted yesterday to the Office of the President, it still included the name of Secretary Remulla. Why is that so, considering that there are two pending disbarment cases and a sworn opposition?
We considered them as complaints, but in our discussion yesterday, it was considered that last-minute oppositions and complaints were considered as mere oppositions by the JBC.
Are you saying
Kasalanan nyo rin yan. Di nyo kasi nautakan kasi kayo. Di nyo na lang maamin. Kaya ngayon nyo na lang siya parang anong tawag dyan? Ngayon nyo na lang inapila. Wala huli na kayo eh. Diba? Kasalanan nyo rin yan. Nautakan kayo. Aminin nyo na lang kasi. Or tanggapin nyo na lang. Diba? Kasi yun nga for sure, kapag kayo din yung nasa katayuan yan, gagawin nyo rin yan.
Justice, that all of these cases against Secretary Remulla are entirely baseless?
No, it's still ongoing, but in the minds of the
Speaking of baseless, yan din naman yung nangyayari sa impeachment Di ba? Hindi nga baseless yun eh. Sobrang titibay ng mga ebidensya dun eh. Di ba? Kaya ang ginawa nyo na lang, dinisolve nyo. Di ba? Kasi wala nang ligtas si Sarah nun eh.
members, they were.
You admit that they were still ongoing, certainly.
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
You can hardly say that he is qualified. You yourself said if there are pending cases, and
Yes.
you said that they are ongoing.
Ongoing.
How could you have disregarded them and included him in a short list? You can form your preliminary judgment or opinion on the cases for purposes of JBC proceedings, right?
Yes.
Are we saying that these are baseless? Is it not clear that the case I filed at the Ombudsman was dismissed by the acting Ombudsman Vargas on the sole ground that the Supreme Court would raise prejudicial questions? Certainly, the Ombudsman didn't tackle the merits in any way. Hence, the JBC should have considered it and given it more weight.
was considered by all the members of the JBC, but we do not know the reasons of each and every member. The JBC.
What were your reasons as a member? How did you justify his inclusion?
Oh, galit-galita na. Galit na siya par. Galit na siya. Yan yung napapala nyo. Papatulong kasi ng eleksyon eh. Di ba? Kung hindi ka nagpatulong ng eleksyon, hindi ka sana sasabak dyan. Di ba? Hindi mo na sana ipipilit yan. Hindi ka na sana na-stress. Di ba? Pa-promote pa more. Sige sir.
He was
Sa
able to
palparin mo.
secure a clearance with respect to the criminal cases. And then, with respect to the disbarment, they were considered one and the same
Disbarment.
by the body. The members of the JBC come from different interests. I represent the retired justices. One represents the academe, one represents the private sector, and one represents the IBP. The government is represented, the Senate is represented by.
Sir, we're aware of the different sectors represented in the JBC, and we are certain that they're all qualified and fit. However, given the cases that were pending, what will happen
Cases
as a
that were
former
pending.
Supreme Court justice? If the Supreme Court decides that no prejudicial question exists and that the Ombudsman should have resolved the Remulla cases on its merits, do you think that Secretary Remulla can ever be fair in deciding the cases against himself, now sitting as Ombudsman? If he inhibits, do you think that it will allay any notion of partially considering that it is still his underlings who will finally decide? Does that not put us in an untenable position?
Yes, Your Honor, I agree that he has to inhibit himself, but he's in a position to, as the Ombudsman, yes, he is in a position to influence the deputies
Sige.
who will replace him if he inhibits himself. But there's so many factors, and we cannot at this time predict what those factors are. But the human
Diba?
factor is very
Tama, wag niyong pangunahan. Sobra naman kayong kabado kasi.
important. Their background, their sense of justice, like that.
Would that
Napipikon na
not
si
be the
IMEE
same
pa.
problem if the decision on the 2 disbarment cases is adverse to Secretary Remulla? How can it be enforced, considering that he is an impeachable officer? Did the JBC not
Oh.
take this into account?
It took
Di ka ba kinikilabutan banggitin yung word na impeachable? Huwag nyo nang banggitin yan, naalala lang ng taong bayan yung pinaggagawa nyo ng impeachment ni BP Sara eh. Kung paano kayo naging unfair doon eh. Huwag nyo sabihin fair kayo doon. Kasi kung talagang fair kayo, pinasimulan nyo yung impeachment, doon nyo tatalunin. Diba? Kasi pinagsasabi nito, fairness daw par.
this into account, Your Honor.
Baka unfairness.
We know that there is a process. With respect to disbarment, sometimes they are directly filed with the IBP. And then it goes to it is referred to the council or the committee in the IBP. And then if they have finding already, it will go to the Board of Governors. And all their findings are recommendatory. It is after the Board of Governors of the IBP, they will recommend to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will be the final arbiter.
Yes, Justice Mendoza, we're aware of the process. Merely that it
Diba?
appears that the JBC did not adequately take into
Ano ba nangyayari?
consideration all these issues. We are aware, Mr. Chairman and Justice Mendoza, of the tremendous pressure upon the JBC. However, it's apparent that the JBC subverted its own rules and really performed extraordinary leniency in the case of at least 2 applicants, by which we're totally perplexed and rather alarmed for its future performance. That's all, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much, Justice Mendoza.
Okay na. Pakinggan pa ba natin si Marcoleta pa? Parang wag na, no? Sige, pakinggan natin.
Thank you, Senator Amy. Any more questions?
Konti, mga 5 minutes, I think.
Congressman Alan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Pakinggan
Justice,
natin.
may I ask for your
Sarap din
view
pakinggan ng
on the
BP.
use of artificial intelligence in the
Kaso,
judiciary?
nagdala na
To what extent do you believe artificial intelligence may be permissibly used to aid courts?
Personally, Your Honor, I use lately only AI to correct my grammar. That's all. When I research, I try to research on some issues, but I came to the conclusion that at this time, AI is not yet fully developed for me because I was researching on a case of succession and it provided me with the wrong provision. So I never relied on AI itself. But there are so many uses of AI, and for research, I'm not yet endorsing it.
Banggitin mo nga, sir, sabihin mo ba na yung sa DDS nga, sir, nag-AI nga sila nung pulburon video eh. Yun yung masama, di ba? Pilit na
But
pilit.
during one of our interviews, there was a judge who said, he's a judge in La Union, he's a top-notcher, he used AI because the transcript, he asked the AI to summarize it, and the AI summarized it.
Patuloyin muna natin, nahihirapan si Sir na sagutin yung sa AI. Di siya fan ng AI, ano. So, kung usapang AI lang, i-explain nyo yung Pulveron video, no? Pulveron video. I-explain nyo yun kung usapang AI yung gusto nyo. So, kita nyo naman yun, par. So, ganang video to, mula kay Boss Balita TV, supportahan nyo yan. Tapos, syempre, Senate of the Philippines, courtesy sa kanila, support nyo rin. Tapos, yun lang naman. Di natin napakinggan si Marcoleta, sayang. Pero I think baka ano lang din mas lalo lang tayo mahahibla doon, ano. So dito muna tayo kay IMEE, baka gawa na lang natin siya ng separate video, ano. So usapang Senator IMEE, so gigil na gigil sila na ipa-disbar or i-disqualify si Rimulya. Ayan, ombudsman na So wala nang magagawa. Ang gawin nyo na lang, tanggapin nyo na lang na naisahan kayo, 'di ba? Move on, hanap ng ibang angle. Diba? Hindi yung ombudsman na yung tao Tapos, syempre, wag niyong questionin yun, par. Kasi nung impeachment nga ni BP Sara, diba? Wala naman na kaming It's like, wala na. Ano pa bang magagawa natin na yung supposed to be malakas na atake? Wala na-diffuse nyo na yun Diba? So, parang, nilive na namin yung impeachment. Okay. Hindi na may impeach si BP Sara. Ganyan ba? Tanggap-tanggap lang ba? Hindi pwede yung kayo gusto nyo bumanat, gusto nyo kayo yung laging panalo, di ba? Tanggapin nyo rin minsan yung pagkatalo, di ba? Take the L, ganon. Huwag yung lumalabas kayo na pilit kayo dyan, di ba? Actually, nagpapanik sila ngayon sa pagiging ombudsman ni Rimulya di ba? Ano sila na parang, I think, ibig sabihin nila dito na about sa power or about sa siguro connection, yung pinupunto nila dito na bakit ganyan, naupo si Rimulya na may mga case or whatsoever. Kayo nga nagpatakbo nga kayo ng senador para lang sumalba sa impeachment ni BP Sara Diba? May nagawa ba kami doon? Wala. Kasi yun nga, yung politics is, ewan ko kung bakit naka-design ng ganyan yung politics sa Philippines. 'Di ba? Na parang power to power. Ang problema kasi sa mga tupar, kini-question nila yung paggamit ng power. Gayong sila naman, sobrang lakas din naman nilang gumawit sa power. 'Di ba? Doon na lang Dapat yung sa impeachment, okay na yun, 'di ba? Namumuro naman kayo. Masyado naman kayong nanggagahaman na kayo niyan. 'Di ba? Gusto nyo parati kayo na lang masunod. Diba? Nanalo na nga kayo doon sa yung house arrest ni FPRD Ang tanong lang, kung papayag ba yung ICC dyan? Diba? So, ganun lang. So, yun nga. So, ewan ko, bakit kinakatakutan nilang maging ombudsman. Comment nga kayo sa baba para hindi pa kasi lumalawak yung ko sa ombudsman thing na ito So ano yung magiging epekto niya. But so far yung mga nakikita ko ngayon, sobrang natitriggered talaga yung mga DDS. Yung iba payak-iyak pa, like sabi nila, wala na, finish na, ombudsman na si Rimulya. Ganyan na sila. Sobrang natitriggered sila Ombudsman. Yan ba yung some kind nung impeachment ni BP Sara? Hindi, Supreme Court yan Pero may ombudsman ba na involved doon? Kalimutan ko na kasi. So, abangan na lang natin yung susunod na kabanata, So, again, I think that's it na lang muna. So, Boss Balita TV, supportahan nyo yan. Tapos, syempre, kung trip nyo ng mga ganito reaction video may kasama kayo manood, huwag nyo na rin kalimutan supportahan yung YouTube channel natin. FilipiNoisy, like, comment, share, subscribe. And also, again, bago natin tapusin to, ipagdasal natin, i-pray natin yung mga kababayan natin sa Davao. So, kahit na taga doon, sila Sara or yung mga DDS, huwag tayong humiling ng mga ikasasama nila, Like, halimbawa ganyan, karoon ng mga kalamidad or whatsoever, or deserve nila, karma nila. Huwag tayong ganyan para kasi kung yan yung gagawin natin, wala na tayong pinagkaiba sa kanila, So, dapat maging unique tayo and then, syempre, may mga solid din naman, di ba, na mga anti or mga pro-PBBM dyan or pro-administration dyan sa Davao. Hindi naman lahat, di ba? So, parang ano na lang, wag niyong idama yung mga kababayan natin doon na nasa Davao kasi hindi naman Duterte yung Davao. 'Di ba? Nandun lang yung mga Duterte pero hindi Duterte ang Davao. May mga kababayan din tayo dyan. Ang nasa Davao, mga Filipino na may nahalong mga DDS. Ganon. Pero again, ano lang tayo dito sa puso natin, ano. Wag tayong maging masamang tao din. So ipagdasal natin yung mga kababayan natin sa Davao, sa Cebu din, yan sa Bugo na makabangon sila. And then syempre ipagdasal din natin na sana matigil na tong mga sunod-sunod na paglindol, ano, na hindi na masundan. So I think may na-upload ako na video bago to about dun sa mga quakes dun sa Davao, ano. So that's it na lang muna. Thank you so much for watching. Baka itong video na to, panoorin nyo to. Ito. So about sa mga video, mga nakakikilabot na video ng lindol dun sa Davao. So like, comment, share, subscribe. FilipiNoisy is out.